Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is July 29th, 2021. Folks, you may or may not have heard that there was a magnitude 8.2 earthquake that struck just off of the coast of Alaska. Now, there was a tsunami warning issued for this earthquake. However, I've just checked a few minutes ago, and these tsunami warnings were lifted. As you can see in this news article, it says the magnitude 8.2 earthquake that struck off the coast of Alaska triggered a tsunami watch in Hawaii and a warning that waves may be felt as far as Australia. Now, I've been monitoring this for the last several hours, and I do follow the tsunami alert system on Twitter, and you can see right here they did put out a tweet, and this is kind of a model showing the tsunami propagation as it would occur all the way down, and then you would see where it would be touching Australia, New Zealand, and so on and so forth. But I pay very close attention to this Twitter site whenever something like this does occur, and they do put out some pretty cool models to, check things out. So we can see, once I click on this, you can see the propagation according to the hours that go by and the tsunami wave as it comes all the way down. And again, yes, it would have been clipping the northern tier of Australia, New Zealand. It would have impacted the west coast of the United States. Well, hell, it would have made its way all the way down to the coast of South America. But again, this tsunami warning has been lifted, thank goodness. Magnitude 8.2, nothing to mess around with. That region up there in Alaska, it's kind of prone to these larger earthquakes. And it's not the first time a big earthquake has occurred there, and it will not be the last. But, I've been going back and forth and digging up some information and seeing, okay, what was the major cause of this earthquake? And we'll get into that. But you can see that if this tsunami did come down, it would have been impacting the state of Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. It would have also been impacting Japan. Okay, and again, making its way all the way down. The bad part is Hawaii would have been right in the middle of this tsunami. Again, all hypothetical, did not happen. Tsunami warning lifted. So we're going to be looking at some other aspects of why this earthquake possibly happened. And I'm going to be getting into that here. We're going to be taking a look at the Earth's magnetic field and the solar wind, because, we did have several solar events leading up to this. And, mainstream science before has always said, oh, there's no correlation between the sun and, earthquakes. This is a little chart that they posted that was showing a lot of the warning areas for the tsunami advisory. Again, highlighted in orange and red, the biggest threat areas. And again, fortunately, the tsunami did not come, and the warnings were all lifted. The depth of this earthquake was approximately 32 kilometers deep, and that is about 19 miles deep. This next chart that they posted, this is also pretty cool. This is the propagation forecast for that tsunami, computer-generated graph, and it will show you how the energy of that tsunami would have been moving based on the epicenter of that earthquake. It's pretty interesting. They do have some very, very good technology now to spot and chart any tsunami. And I do believe they have one more that they normally post. Well, it's pretty much the same thing. They go kind of hour by hour, and the DART system kind of forecasts as more information comes in. It kind of forecasts where that tsunami would be going if, in fact, it was triggered and we did have one. So, but we are going to be talking about this solar energy as soon as we get through the USGS. And we'll go ahead and take a look at this. Magnitude 8.2 was listed. Several kilometers off the coast, Percival, Alaska. And we'll get a zoomed in look here. Now, all these little circles that you see in red, those are all aftershocks. And those are all within the last hour of this video. So the time right now, I believe, is 5:29 a.m. Eastern time. So you can see the magnitude 8.2, depth 32 kilometers, approximately 19 miles deep. Very, very shallow earthquake. And usually, tell you the truth, folks, with these shallow earthquakes, those are the ones that do produce a tsunami. It was right on a fault line. And again, this area known as the Gulf of Alaska, it is prone to these large earthquakes, and there have been some massive ones there throughout history. We are very lucky, all of the folks that live on that western coast of Canada and also California, that this tsunami was canceled and it didn't get anywhere. We're going to be taking a look at some of this solar weather here, because I started looking back and trying to figure out, okay, well, what caused this? Because there was some volcanic activity going off at the same time as the earthquake. But real quick, we're going to take a look at Earthquake 3D. And you see those rings? These rings basically show you how far out that energy from this earthquake, how far out it reached. Now, you can guarantee that seismograms located throughout all of Canada and all of the United States and Mexico and over there in Russia and over there in Japan recorded this event. You would probably get activity on seismograms as far down as New Zealand and Australia. They were probably able to record this event. And I'm going to be looking at those seismograms later on. I should have brought them up here, but I wanted to get this information out to all of you. We're going to be taking a look at this solar weather, the Earth's magnetosphere, and the solar wind. Because I had a feeling, based on what I look at every single day, I did see these waves of energy coming in. I did think that we would probably have some increased seismic activity. I was not expecting the magnitude 8.2. But again, it all depends when these waves start coming in and impacting the Earth, and what part of the Earth is facing the sun at that time. And naturally, you know, the Earth is rotating, so it's going to be the initial impact zone, and as the Earth rotates and more of these heavily charged particles come in, impact the Earth, there'll be some areas trailing behind as the Earth rotates that are going to get hit also. So based on what I've seen and what has been recorded over the past 72 hours is leading me to come to the conclusion that this earthquake was definitely caused by the solar activity coming from the sun. And you're going to see, as I get into the first chart and graph and model here, that you see the waves coming in. Wave after wave after wave after wave impacting the Earth. There was a lot of activity on the sun over the course of the last couple of weeks. Just been steadily increasing. You've seen my videos, and I'm sure you've seen other videos on YouTube, but let's take a look at this, and this is the solar wind model. The arrows, that's the direction. This is a side view. The arrows are the direction of the solar wind. And up there to the right, you're going to see that kind of goldish color, okay? Well, it's going to get darker and darker and darker, and that's going to show you more intensity of solar wind coming from the sun, as the CMEs have been erupting just about every day. And as that comes in, it's going to impact the Earth's magnetosphere and the bow shock, which is the red-looking U-shaped figure on this model. You're going to see it flexing. Those heavily charged particles bust right through there. They make their way all the way down into the Earth's core. It takes several days. And then the next thing you know, you have massive volcanic eruptions if they were kind of in the target zone, and you will have massive earthquakes. And we're going to see this. Okay, so you pay attention to the right side of this model, and that's where you're going to see the waves coming in. And this is all color coded, so you'll be able to see these the area that's kind of a yellowish color. You'll see it get darker. You'll see bands of red coming through there, and those are the pulses and the impacts coming from the sun, coming from the coronal mass ejections, and that kind of creates a more intense solar wind. And there's no doubt, after watching this and going back in time and viewing this, to me there's no doubt that, you know, this is what has occurred. You know, I've gone back researching this information all the way back to 2014, 15. I really started talking about it in 2016, 2017, 18, about how the sun affects the Earth when there is coronal mass ejections, things of that nature, and how it does have the ability to, you know, cause earthquakes, increase volcanic activity. Scientists were never on my side. But over the years, going back to, I think, 2018, 19, yeah, they started to come out of their shell a little bit. And they started to kind of agree with me. And then they started writing abstracts and publishing papers about it. Hell no, they didn't mention me. You know, I guess they came to their own conclusions over time. But, you know, as we go ahead and get this model started, you're going to go ahead and start to see these bands coming in. And, you know, I've started this now. You'll see the time up above. Now, this is going to go back a couple of days. Okay, this is when the solar activity was coming in. 26th, 27th, 28th. Really started to pick up in intensity at the tail end of the 27th going into the 28th. And then, bam, we have the major earthquake, you know, just hours and hours ago. And, you know, it's a good thing that earthquake wasn't on land. Big difference, you know. But here you could see these bands coming in, identified in red. That area should be yellow to the far right of this model. That should be kind of a, you know, a light colored yellow. The more intensity, the darker it's going to get. Hell, I've seen that whole area encapsulated in red before. But our magnetosphere is not, you know, up to full strength. we are still in a kind of a lower strength because the Earth's magnetic field responds to the sun's magnetic field. The sun's magnetic field is still kind of low as it's coming out of the solar minimum. So as that increases, the sun's magnetic field increases as it moves into solar maximum, the Earth's magnetic field will start to increase. Will it prevent any of this from happening? Nope. It will not. It will not. You know, these heavily charged particles, folks, blasting through space, they're going to break through the Earth's magnetic field. It happens all the time. It's been happening since the beginning of time. However, we do have other factors out there. We've talked about them. You've seen the photographs of that other factor. And it is what it is. I think over the course of the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to see things occurring on this planet that you probably never even dreamed about. It's a possibility that those dreams turn into nightmares. Not trying to scare anybody, but it's just based on facts. You know, we're already seeing extreme weather. We're already seeing extreme flooding. There are parts of this world that are in complete drought right now. But as the activity picks up on the sun during this solar maximum, as we continue to move into it, things are going to start to change rapidly over the course of the rest of this year and for the next 11 years. What we're looking at now here is the Earth's magnetosphere. Again, this is a side view, okay? The Earth is the little black and white sphere in the center there. The red arch is the Earth's bow shock, or bow shock as it's referred to. You will see it flex back and forth. You also, again, will see these kind of red bands coming through. Those are the pulses of energy that are coming from the sun based on coronal mass ejections and active regions of the sun that have exploded. They make their way 93 million plus miles across space, and they impact our little planet. And that in turn forces those heavily charged particles through the magnetosphere, through the Earth's crust, all the way down to the core, therefore heating it up. And depending on what part of the Earth was facing at the time of the impact, if it is a point like where this earthquake occurred, right on a fault line or right near that fault line, a weak zone, a weakened area, you're going to have an earthquake. Or if this is if this hits in an area where it's centralized and pinpointed, and it's a volcanic area where there's a lot of volcanoes, bingo, you're going to have a pretty heavy-duty blast in a volcano in that area. And that did happen. That actually happened, I believe, 12 hours before the earthquake. So again, is it a coincidence? Based on all of the research that I've done over all of these years, I say no, it is not a coincidence. There are too many factors that I've just shown all of you that have come together and created the events that we've just seen. I don't have any of the data from the volcano. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that information later on. My time's a little limited this morning, but I wanted to bring this information to you guys and this was something to report. Magnitude 8.2 earthquake just off of the Peninsula coast of Alaska. And the aftershocks are coming one by one. And I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon. Hey, there have been periods of time when aftershocks have occurred in the Gulf of Alaska for days and days and days, leading up past a week to 10 days. Several years ago, I don't know, I think there was like 700, 800 aftershocks in the Gulf of Alaska that occurred. So again, you know, this is some of the ways that we can look at this information and go back in time and try to figure out what happened. How did this occur? And, you know, just yesterday, I showed all of you some of the newest photo captures of our stellar core. And as I bring them up again, and you take a look at the date, take a look at the dates. This is the 26th, okay, on this photograph. And I told all of you in my prior video that we would be expecting a coronal mass ejection on the western limb of the sun in approximately 3 to 5 days. What happened? Bingo, right on time. That coronal mass ejection occurred. We were able to get a really, really good photo capture of this object right where it was supposed to be, right on time in its 28-day orbit. So look, I don't have a crystal ball. So when I made that video days and days ago, and I told you that within 3 to 5 days we would get this photograph, we would see the coronal mass ejection in that area, well, that occurred. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not. That is based on all of this research, all of the timing that I've recorded over all of these years to come to these conclusions and show all of you what we're talking about here today in this video. You know, we could zoom in on this. You could take a pretty good look at it. Pretty clear, you know, little blurry, but that's cactus. Cactus, their resolution, not the best in the world. We could take a look real quick at the negative of this this photograph. Pretty good detail. And again, it was right where it was supposed to be, and I knew it was coming. You know, I've done enough research on this to pretty much nail down the timing month after month. This is kind of an embossed version. You could see the perfect sphere right in there. You could see the outline of the explosive matter coming from the sun. And again, is it a coincidence that every time this stellar core object gets close to the sun in its orbit, we have the coronal mass ejections in these specific areas month after month after month? And it's been just about 3 years now that I've put all of my information together to form this theory, this hypothesis, and month after month, it proves itself. It proves itself. So during this orbit, this object gets close enough to the sun to pull plasma and material from the sun. Two magnetic fields interacting together create the coronal mass ejection. The coronal mass ejection is what gives us the opportunity to get a photo capture of this object. And that is what clued me in many years ago about what was happening on the sun. And, you know, folks, not to be some Debbie Downer here, but this is going to continue. Okay? It's going to continue. We are only in the beginning phases of this solar maximum. Which means each day that goes by, the activity on the sun is going to increase. That's natural. That's a natural 11-year cycle. Scientists have been on to that for a long, long time. So we're now in the beginning phases of the sun's transformation, the sun waking up. But through this solar minimum, when the sun was supposed to be asleep and solar activity was supposed to be at a minimum, it wasn't. The sun was super active, producing coronal mass ejections almost on a daily basis. And again, allowing us to get absolutely phenomenal photo captures of this object that everybody says doesn't exist. But yet, they've been looking for it for decades. But mainstream science will not give the credit and go out there and say, wow, okay, we found it. That guy from Planet X News found it. Okay, we've got satellites deep in the space orbiting around the sun now, and here are the photographs. No, we don't know what it is, but it's part of our solar system now. Will you ever hear that? Probably not. Same thing with, do aliens exist and have they visited our planet? Well, that's inconclusive. That's what you hear from the bullshit government. Why do you think that they want to get to Mars so bad? Why do you think they want off of this planet? It's like the elite want off of this planet. They want to go to Mars. They want to create a civilization on Mars. What do they know that we don't know? Is this planet doomed? Oh, the Earth's not going to be here forever. But man, they're really making these pushes to get out there and inhabit another planet a little further away from the sun. Could they terraform Mars? I don't know. Can they control what's happening to this planet right now? No, absolutely not. Impossible. I don't think that we're going to be wake up tomorrow morning and be completely destroyed. But I do know this much, that over the course of this next decade, we are going to see changes on this planet that are going to open all of your eyes wider than they already are now. And for all of those people that are in denial, well, guess what? They're going to be waking up pretty damn soon, because they're not going to have a choice. They're going to be faced with catastrophic flooding, extreme weather, drought in parts of this planet, sea level rise, extreme cold, extreme heat. It's all here now. But it's going to be getting just a little bit worse. As this solar minimum increases, the interaction between this stellar core and our sun increases. It's inevitable. You're going to see changes on this planet in your lifetime. That's a fact. I have put forth the evidence for many, many years. I've been criticized. I've been ridiculed. I've been trolled. The debunking professionals have come after me on a daily basis, proving nothing. Proving that, they want to pay attention to me. They want to disprove this information. Well, guess what? You took your best shot. You didn't disprove anything. But what you did do, you proved that this information is vital. And you want everybody to think that it's not true. But people are waking up. People are opening their eyes and their minds. And they're seeing the evidence. And a lot of them are experiencing these effects. They have taken parts of their lives. So be prepared, folks. Knowledge is power. Don't ever forget that. You keeping yourself updated, you coming to this channel and watching the videos and learning a little bit, and maybe going off and learning a little bit more, doing some reading about the magnetosphere and the sun, and then you're going to understand a little bit more of the terminology that I use, and then it kind of just comes together. The more and more you watch Planet X News and the information that is produced on this YouTube channel, you will learn. And that knowledge is power. And remember, that is what they've wanted to take away from you for a long time. They want to keep you dumbed down. They do not want you to understand what is happening. Then you just kind of walk around like a zombie. You don't know. You're just a little biological creature, a little human. You're expendable. But this is something that we're going to watch progress rapidly. And remember, we're only in the beginning. These solar maximums go on for 11 years. We've just opened the door to the solar maximum. We're only in the beginning. And look what's occurring. So in a year from now, we're definitely going to be talking about we're definitely going to be talking about more extremes. And then going through that 3 to 5 year position, well, that's going to be like kind of a crapshoot, but I can guarantee that it's not going to be a good one. We're going to see more climate change. We're going to see more melting at the North Pole. We're going to probably see a little bit more sea level rise, more flooding, more earthquakes, more volcanic activity, stronger hurricanes, stronger cyclones, stronger tornadoes, colder winters in some parts on this planet, some areas, not all. We're also going to see extreme heat, very extreme heat. Not across the whole planet, but in some areas based on the Earth's tilt, the Earth's wobble that we've all discussed here, that I've talked about for many years. I believe that this Earth wobble is getting more intense. That Earth wobble takes 365 days to complete. So during the course of a year, that wobble is just a little bit worse than it was the year before. There are charts that show that. It's just not me making the information up. Why do you think they're putting so many GPS satellites in orbit around this planet? Because they're able to show that we're kind of, wobbling a little bit there. That's the only way that they would really be able to track that. But that's a whole nother video on that subject matter. But anyways, folks, I'm going to get going. I have a very busy day today. I just wanted to bring all this information to you about this magnitude 8.2 earthquake. And the tsunami warning, again, has been lifted. There are a lot of aftershocks in the Gulf of Alaska going on right now. And I'm going to dig up the information on the volcanic blasts that are occurring. Probably do a video on that. I'll try to get that out as soon as possible today. I'm sure there's some other YouTube channels that are already talking about it. But stay tuned. Stay tuned to Planet X News, folks. Make sure that you are subscribed. Every single time you come to this channel, make sure that you are subscribed. Sometimes there are glitches with YouTube and, you get unsubscribed. Also, for all the folks that have joined up as a Planet X News member to this YouTube channel for $5 per month, I greatly appreciate it, folks. You are allowing all of this research, work, and evidence to continue. Also, there will be upcoming exclusive videos for those members. So if you'd like to jump on board and you'd like to be a member, hey, just follow the directions that are in the description box under the video. Take care, folks.